My wedding is in 2 weeks. It's just time to kick it into high gear, that's all. You guys should be calling me every morning to see if I need anything and ask me how I'm doing. I'm getting married. In the Bachelorette party, it should be an expensive atmosphere, but I still want nice gifts. I'm sorry, Margaret. Sometimes I just expect too much. Hey everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 9, Episode 6, Last Fling Before the Ring. Okay, the show opens at Naughty, because, you know, the housewives have never been to one of these stores before. Why, Bravo? Why do we keep doing the same things all the time? It's like Bravo is run by a 13-year-old boy. It just never gets old shopping for dildos. This time it is Margaret and Teresa shopping for things for Danielle's bachelorette party. Although to be fair, I didn't really see them walk out with anything but a package of penis straws and one dildo. Of course, Teresa wants to bring the conversation around to Jackie. I mean, she's been around for 2 minutes. Who does she think she is? Margaret, to her credit, is actually trying to play devil's advocate a little bit with Teresa and telling her where, you know, I think Jackie might be thinking this or that. That doesn't work with Teresa. You're not going to change your mind. And now Teresa's thing is that Melissa should have stopped Jackie from attacking her sister-in-law. It's mind-boggling. Teresa attacks Melissa. Jackie defends Melissa. Teresa expects Melissa to say, "No, Jackie, that's my sister-in-law. How dare you talk to her like that?" Unbelievable. So anyway, Margaret says to her, "Well, you know, I had a talk with Melissa. She feels like you don't love her. You'll never accept her." And Teresa goes, "Oh, whatever. I don't have to love her. My brother has to love her, not me." Okay, you guys, this is the second time Teresa has said something to the effect of, "This isn't about my feelings for Melissa." Just say it. It is so clear that Teresa does not, will not ever like Melissa. It's not Melissa. It would be any woman coming between her and her brother. Whatever sort of time and attention she thinks that she deserves from her brother is being split between her brother's children and wife. Now, I guess Teresa can understand the children, but the wife, no. As far as anyone Joe could have picked for a wife, I think Teresa probably really lucked out with Melissa. To the confession cam, Margaret said, "You know, I've heard about these big blowouts between Teresa and Melissa. I love them both, and I don't want this to happen." It's not looking so good, Margaret. I think you better brace yourself, because we are heading in a bad direction for those two. Side note, Margaret looks so cute in this confessional. It is so weird to me that sometimes she looks old and other times she just looks adorable. I can't figure it out, but she looks adorable in this one. Oh God, then Teresa says, "The way you treat me is the way I'll treat you. Capiche?" Please tell me she did not say capiche again. And who is she saying that to? Margaret? She is like a dog with a new toy. Which, this one makes no sense to me because Teresa speaks Italian. Teresa is Italian, her family's Italian, she speaks Italian. I do not know why this ending the sentence with capiche seems like some new discovery for her. Yeah, she is all in with capiche this season. Oh God, you guys, we should play a drinking game. Every time somebody says capiche. Anyway, I did think this was funny. After Teresa says that, Margaret asks Teresa, what does Melissa have to do? Teresa goes, "She knows what to do." And Bravo zooms in on these submission masks. Oh my God. I don't know if that was subliminal or if they were trying to say something. I don't know, but it was crazy. Next, we have a throwaway scene where the Gorgas and little Joey are shopping for a new suit for Joey for his communion. And I don't know, you know, I hate a sassy kid. Joey's like a little cocky 9-year-old, and I don't think it's cute. He's cute, but his mouth, no. We do see a little picture of Melissa and her dad when Melissa was little. That's adorable. But this scene was pointless. Speaking of pointless scenes, we now get to see Dolores and her mom. She's still trying to get her mom to lead a healthier life, which is great. They go to one of Dolores's gyms, or does she have more than one? Anyway, they go to Dolores's gym, and she gets her a smoothie, and they sit and talk. Dolores is lonely, is where this is kind of ending, and she needs to figure out what she wants to do with her life. Okay, now Melissa and Joe go to Jackie's house to have dinner. They're about to ring the bell. They're on the front porch, and Joe is, of course, his usual oversexed self. Does anybody else here think that he's overcompensating for something? I mean, right? So they have dinner that Jackie did not make, and of course, I guess there's a big joke about how she never cooks, but whatever. So Jackie brings up Jennifer's house, and she said, so what did you think of it? Melissa's like, yeah, I mean, it's big. And Jackie said, yeah, I haven't even told Evan anything about what happened there. And Joe picks up on that, and he goes, what? What happened there? Because Melissa hasn't told Joe either. So they're starting to tell them that, you know, this thing happened with Joe's sister. And Jackie mentions that she and her sister haven't spoken to each other in years, and that they did not have a good relationship as kids, so they just kind of drifted apart. We see an old picture of Jackie when she's little. Why does this look like the picture was taken like in the late 1800s? I mean, except for the mullets. This picture could have been like, I don't know, circa 1892, something like that. So anyway, Jackie does tell them that she felt like Teresa and Dolores were ganging up on Melissa. And so she spoke up. She said, your sister seems to think that women can control their husbands. Then she tells them what she said to Teresa. Do you think that if you could really control your husband, he would be in prison right now? And Joe goes, oh. Now, that's not the reaction I expected out of Joe. I sort of thought he would be more defensive of his sister, because honestly, the other women, everybody defends Teresa so much. It is like some sort of a mob mentality thing. Like, you don't snitch and you don't talk about when someone is away. You know, you don't even say the word of where they actually are. It's like that's taboo. So I kind of thought that when Jackie was telling them that Joe might have had the same reaction that the other ladies did. He was shocked, but he had a smile on his face too. And he said, oh, my sister holds a grudge. And he's just kind of teasing them going, right now she's got voodoo dolls of both of you guys at home. Back at Dolores's house, Frankie Jr. comes home, and he is, oh my God, entering a bodybuilding contest that is the same contest Teresa's in. I can't wait for that episode though, actually. So the whole gist of this scene though really was that we learn that Frank Sr. told Frankie about the disbarment. So now it's like everybody knew except Dolores. And oh, Dolores is not happy. Next, we see Melissa pulling up to Margaret's house, and she is picking her up because they are going over to Danielle's to discuss wedding plans. And there's a lot of trepidation there because they are both talking about how much of a bridezilla Danielle has turned into. And even though Melissa tells her in the car that she doesn't want to talk about Teresa because of all the wedding things that are coming up, you know, there's showers and bachelorette party and all these things are coming up in the next 2 weeks. And she said, I don't want to make waves or deal with anything with Teresa until after all that. In spite of that, Margaret still has to tell her that Teresa thinks you should have stopped Jackie and told her not to talk about your sister-in-law because that's family. And Melissa's driving and she's like, she's mad at me? And I'm thinking, Margaret, she did not want to deal with this right now. You could have waited. Anyway, Margaret gets the bright idea that she should host a brunch soon so that everybody can kind of get things out in the open. Melissa and Teresa and she and Danielle and Jackie and Teresa, everybody should just like clear the air and have a good brunch. Oh, come on. Margaret, do you think for 1 second that's gonna turn out well. Okay, so next we are at Danielle's house. And Teresa, Melissa, and Margaret show up. And it's time to talk weddings. But before that, when they get there, she's taking them through her home. This is the blue room. Shall we sit in the great room? And, you know, I mean, it really is beautiful. In fact, I think I'm going to be spending my time in Danielle's house for this episode. Okay, Margaret says, we booked a great place. You're gonna love it. It's a great Gatsby theme. And they're talking about, oh yes, dressing like flappers and I don't know, somehow they're confusing a flapper with a hooker. It's all very confusing, but they're all laughing and they're having a great time until needle scratch. Dead silence, Danielle. But it needs to be perfect. I want only dairy and gluten-free options, and the environment needs to be an expensive environment. But I still want nice gifts. Margaret's like, of course you do. Oh my God. I mean, she is the worst. Then Margaret or Teresa, somebody mentions that she is registered at Hermes and Versace. Yeah. So Danielle says, well, the wedding is 2 weeks away and it's just time to kick it into high gear, that's all. You guys need to be calling me in the morning and saying, okay, countdown is on. She is demanding that they answer their phones anytime she calls and ask her, what is it? What do you need? What can I do for you? My expectations are that you should be checking in with me and making sure I'm doing okay. I'm getting married. Right. You're getting married, not dying. You know, I wonder if she has ever been that attentive to another woman when she was getting married. To that extent, where Danielle's own life would be on hold until her friend's wedding day. I mean, where is she getting this from? Like literally, where is she getting these expectations from? Based on what? Who does that? Danielle really is kind of coming after Margaret because she said to Melissa, you always ask me, what do you need me to do? And Teresa always answers the phone when I call. And Teresa's like, yeah, I do. Margaret goes, I talk to you. And she goes, yeah, talk to me. So Melissa does defend Margaret. And she said, you know, to be fair, this bachelorette party, Margaret is spearheading this. And, you know, we're just doing what Margaret tells us to do, but this is like her baby. And Danielle goes, well, that's nice to hear, but it was a very lonely day when I had my fitting and alterations. And Margaret goes, we went with you when you got your dress. Then we see a picture of the dress and it's tacky. I'm sorry. Anyway, turns out she's got a totally different dress now, and admittedly better than the first one, in my opinion. So Danielle says, I got a whole different dress. I guess nobody knew when she was having fittings or alterations. And Danielle's answer to that was, you should have called me just to see. When do I get to feel like a bride instead of attacked and gnawed at like a dog with a bone? Okay, that was a good scene. Well, that was the straw that broke Margaret's back because she got up and she started yelling at Danielle about how she's handling her gift registry. And Danielle goes, so I shouldn't register as a bride? And Margaret goes, no, you shouldn't. You should say, in lieu of gifts, please donate to a charity because I have a beautiful house filled with and I don't need anything else. And it's my second marriage. Ugh. Everybody got quiet. Margaret storms out of the room. And then, to me, this was shocking. Danielle got up, followed Margaret out of the room, and tries to grab her hand and apologize. Danielle was apologizing to Margaret. That I did not see coming. I can't believe she wouldn't have been furious that as a bride to be, she got yelled at, you know? It was just such a turn on a dime. It really took me by surprise. I mean, they hugged. I'm thinking, what is happening here? This bridezilla collapsed like a house of cards when somebody stood up to her. But she starts crying, apologizing and crying and saying, I think I just expected too much out of you, Margaret. I'm sorry. And they hug. Not only do they hug, but they come back in the room and then they're real cozy on the couch together. Okay, so next, this scene is Jennifer and all the children. And before I go on, I need to make a correction, because in the very first scene that we saw Jennifer for the first time, and Bill, he who shall not be named, I made a comment about how at least their children are well behaved. They were so quiet while the two of them were having a conversation. I thought they were playing nicely together. The older brother was hugging the little 5-year-old girl, and I thought they were very sweet and well behaved. Oh, Mama was wrong. I just needed to make that correction because I've never been so dead wrong about a first impression before. So Jennifer is complaining that Bill works even on the weekends, sometimes late into the night, and that he doesn't come home for dinner a lot of times, and that it makes it really hard on her because she has to deal with 5 children all alone. You're all alone? I think this woman might beg to differ. Plus, you know that Maya is way more help than Bill would ever be, right? While she's on the phone complaining, Maya is like bustling around that kitchen trying to get dinner ready. So she goes outside with the children. They go out on the basketball court, or the sport court, I think is what she calls it. So she's out there with all the kids, and Olivia, that kid is, she's going to be a monster when she gets older. No question about it. But I am living for the fact that this girl is in a dress, fancy shoes, and a purse out on the basketball court. So cute. She says to Jennifer, "Girls don't play basketball." And Jennifer goes, "Where did you hear that?" And she says, "I'm learning to be a princess." I mean, she's 5, and so it is still kind of adorable to me, but it is not going to be cute when she's 10, and it's going to be tragic when she's 15, and still think that the world owes her something. Side note, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jennifer just made up a game for her kids where if they get 3 baskets in a row, they get to buy anything they want from Amazon. You are just doing a bang-up job with those kids, Jennifer. Oh my God. I am torn between being horrified at the type of mother she is and jealous that she's not my mother. Moving on, we are at Dolores's house, and Frank Sr. walks in the front door, and I am sitting on the couch screaming at the TV like I'm watching a horror movie. "No, go back to your car. Turn around, you're walking into a trap." But he walks in, and I have to say this. In a weird way, I am impressed at how long Frank can go without realizing that there's a problem. He is just carrying on a conversation. "Oh, the dinner looks great. Healthy. Nice." He's going on and on. Dolores, seething, not saying a word, eating in the most angry manner I've ever seen somebody eat her dinner, until finally he says to her, "How are you?" Oh, not good, Frank. Not good. So she says, "Well, Frankie came over, and apparently you told Frankie about your disbarment." Anyway, Frank says something like, "I didn't tell you because I thought you would take it worse than the kids." And she's like, "So then I'm the last person to know." And he's like, "You weren't the last person." And he gets mad and he leaves, and that's about it. And that might be the first time Bravo ever showed us a scene with those two where I wasn't thinking to myself, why did those two ever get divorced? Okay, we have another little scene at Jackie's house. Jackie and her husband are hosting a dinner with Jackie's family, her mom and dad, who are married but don't live together. This is the exact opposite of Dolores and Frank, who are divorced but live together. Very interesting relationships going on here. And her brother and his wife. This was another dinner that she ordered out, which to me it's fine. It's just that for some reason I feel like Bravo is making a point of showing us that she's just shoveling these dinners out of tins. But anyway, so at one point she goes into the kitchen with her mom. She tells her mom that she's thinking about getting in touch with her sister again. And her mom, of course, is all for it and excited for that prospect. So I guess that's going to be part of her storyline, because otherwise I don't see any reason for this entire scene. Here we go, guys. Danielle's bachelorette party. We see Margaret, and I think that was Lexi, her assistant. So the two of them show up, and it's called Space Events. Let me just say this. From the outside, I was thinking, oh no, this cannot be the expensive environment that Danielle was looking for. But of course, inside it's all decorated, and again, not quite my style. I felt like the whole thing felt a little tacky, but it was a bachelorette party. It's not a wedding shower. So I guess, there's some leeway there. The guests are arriving. Teresa gets there and somebody tells her she looks beautiful, and her answer is, I have no underwears on. Danielle's daughter, Christine, walks in, and that girl's got legs for days. She looks like a supermodel. In fact, I can't believe Danielle, of all people, is not trying to Lisa Rinna that girl. Lisa did it to her daughters. Yolanda did it to her daughters before her. I cannot believe that Danielle doesn't want a piece of that. Maybe Christine doesn't want to do it, or maybe she is doing it. I don't know. But she definitely could be. She's just super tall and thin. She's got the perfect body for it. Gorgeous face, gorgeous bone structure. She's a very, very pretty girl. Danielle makes her grand entrance being lowered down from like a swing from the ceiling. So now Danielle and Melissa are talking at the bar, and Melissa said, so how are you feeling? And she said, well, it's a destination wedding, so I'm worried about everything, like, will my dresses arrive on time? Are all the guests gonna make it? I mean, it's just adding this layer of stress. And Melissa said, well, that's all the party stuff, but how do you feel about Marty and the marriage? Danielle, well, all relationships have peaks and valleys. And when you get together at our age, there's gonna be a lot of peaks and valleys. Okay, that was not a ringing endorsement for Marty, just saying. The other thing is, I thought she was gonna say when you get together at our age, there are less peaks and valleys, right? Because you know yourselves better, and there's less drama in your lives, and less game playing. It just seems like when people are older and more mature, it would seem reasonable to think there would be less peaks and valleys, but does not appear to be the case here. In fact, it was so obvious that to the confession cam, Melissa said, yeah, I'm no relationship expert, but it's not a good sign that she cares more about the wedding and the parties themselves than the marriage. Okay, now we have the male stripper portion of the show. And have you guys ever seen these dollar bill guns? I've not seen it before, but they're like these little guns that you shoot, and dollar bills come flying out of them, like to make it rain. Anyway, Teresa's kind of like shoots hers off prematurely. I mean, her husband's been in jail for 2 years. She might have gotten a little excited. But they get Danielle into this, throne, which is just perfect for her to sit in this chair with a big high back. And this guy picks her up, chair and all, and just kind of flings her over his shoulder. That was impressive to me. Now she's laying on the ground. She's got a short skirt on, and he does a headstand between her legs. I don't know. There's a lot of screaming. I assume it's coming from Danielle's daughter, who does not want to be witnessing this, but no, they're all having a good time. A little bit later, Danielle is talking to Teresa, and this was oddly perceptive of Danielle, particularly at her own bachelorette party, where I would think she wouldn't want the subject to be anything but her. She said to Teresa, it seems like there's a little division between you and Melissa. And Teresa goes, I want my brother to spend more time with my dad, and I asked Melissa for some help. And she said, no, you handle it on your own. Then she tells her what Jackie said to her at Jennifer's house about your husband's in jail. And Danielle looked like every other woman, like horrified. And she tells Teresa, if Melissa won't have your back, I will. When you look around and look for your friends, it's always gonna be me standing there. I got you, baby. And that is where this episode ends. So this is just setting us all up for Margaret's brunch next week, which I'm sure is just going to be filled with laughter and good times. Okay, it is time for viewer mail, and I haven't done this in a little while, so I would like to start off by welcoming new subscribers to Jill Informed. Nara Hartsfield, Chuckles6, Manish Murley, View Through My Eye, Vanessa Haddad, Nita Brown, Teresa Lindsay, Piney Men, Pauline Stewart, Olivia Esk, Yolanda Hosley, Ana Guerrero, Stinky and Sunshine's Mom. You guys crack me up. Sam, Lisa Fitch, Jessica Duran, Sandy, and Lynn Nunez. Welcome everybody, and thank you for subscribing, and I hope you enjoy it here. Okay, and the comment this week comes from Amber Kelly. Hey Amber. Amber says, I'm a little worried that Jackie will be left out in the breeze because the women will stick to kissing up to Teresa, even when she's in the wrong for the sake of peace. Yeah, I too am a little worried about that. It's always a little dicey for the new girl, especially your rookie season, to come on too strong, but it's really risky your rookie season to come after the OG. Right or wrong, and this is Teresa. Going after her, I am a little concerned that it could be a career ender for Jackie. And here's what's different to me about Jackie, like her or not, and she's got her own issues, right? I mean, I laughed at her on episode 1 when she said she was a journalist who wrote about parenting because her kids are insane. But her coming after Teresa the way she didn't feel like desperation, and it didn't feel like she was trying to make herself relevant or trying to leave a mark. To me, it didn't feel like she was trying too hard to do something. To me, it felt very genuine, that she was questioning what felt to her like the elephant in the room. Is nobody going to mention the fact that Teresa keeps telling Melissa that women control their men when her own man is in prison? Not only in prison, but is the reason you were in prison. I think to her it seemed absurd, and she felt like she needed to address it. Is that going to hurt her? I mean, I don't know. I hope not. When I replied to Amber in the comment section, I said that I think Teresa has a lot of power in this group of women, and I think Teresa has a lot of power at Bravo. She is a New Jersey original. We're on our 9th season. I don't know if it's gonna go anywhere or if it's here to stay, but and to be fair, me included, I don't want Teresa to leave the show, but I like somebody who thinks for themselves, and I like somebody who's gonna stand up to what she thinks is craziness. I like that about Jackie. Jackie's issue with Teresa is that Teresa seems to be able to say whatever crazy hypocritical thing that comes out of her mouth to the group, and everybody remains quiet and cowers, including the bulldog, Dolores Catania. So she saw this like one person who can spew whatever BS she wants and everybody cowers, and she's kind of saying, I'm not gonna cower. Now you take that and you compare it to Gina, who's been constantly coming after Shannon because Shannon doesn't like her. I realize I'm like kind of overgeneralizing that, and there's some more nuances to it, but that just feels a lot more desperate to me. That feels like, oh no, please like me so that I can come back on the show next year. Now we're still pretty early in the season. This is only episode 6. So I guess we'll see how things pan out with Jackie. She may change her tune. Although previews for the episode that's going to be on tonight looks like Jackie's still standing up for herself, which I love. So we'll see. I don't know. So thanks for the great comment, Amber, and thank you all for watching this week. I hope you will consider subscribing to Jill Informed if you have not yet done so. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. As always, leave your comments. I love them. I read them all and appreciate you guys very much. I hope I will see you next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Bye.